Hello, hello. Yours truly, John Beattie, International Director of the British People's League, coming at you today from Central Ontario Cottage Country, Ontario, Canada. Dinosaur News. Dinosaur News, March 31st, 2014 edition. The sun is shining. At long last, the hell of winter is slowly disappearing. Still a bit cool at the house here, at the Hermitage. Hence the turtleneck still is on this boy. I have conversations over the weekend with good advisors, what route to take on these shows. But again, we're back to home base. Stick to news of British stock, those of our people scattered around the globe of British roots. The American white right is just too tricky to continue handling. There's too many loose cannons. A lot of fine, good people. Too many loose cannons. So again, we're sticking with the three leagues. League of the South. They don't call the Confederacy part of America. The Confederacy is a proud nation of people who instill the memory of their ancestors, the slaughter of the Civil War in the mid-1800s. So the League of the South, our buddies down there. Candor League in the motherland, our buddies across the pond. Candor, C-A-N-D-O-U-R, Candor League. Candor.org.uk. Candor.org.uk. And of course, don't want to leave ourselves out, do we? British People's League. So the three leagues we're sticking with. You branch out from there if you like, you know. Click into whoever, however, on the internet, whatever you wish. We do thank you for tuning in. And yes, another subscriber over the weekend, slowly climbing up the ladder. We've had no subscribers drop off. Okay. The entertainment value of the shows were supposed to be very serious, but people have convinced me that the history of the British People's League is very important, even to the current situation in 2014. So we will continue, interspersed with comments, the readings of the book introduction that yours truly is working on. Now what I'm reading again today is all found at the bottom, the very bottom, last three items of the BritishPeoplesLeague.com homepage. Okay. So we were into the other day as to the fact that the last of the Mohicans, not last of Mohicans, nice parallel, last of the Anglo-Celtic power structure in Canada. There's some hanger-oners, but back in the late 70s, they were still pretty well in charge. So they not only were indirectly in touch with yours truly, but never directly in touch. It was all through Hazel, the go-between. If I knew too much, well, somebody wanted to pull some fingernails out. This boy couldn't keep his mouth shut, so it's just as well I don't know the whole story as to what went down. Canada's secret civil war, 1978-2 with a question mark. So anyway, the big shots, they thought they could make use of some of the right-wingers, even if nothing else but decoy purposes. We're talking radical right, white right, whatever they were called in those days. But no, they thought they should be in charge. 24 of them thought they should be in charge. So it got to the point where they were convinced that there was this attempted coup takeover that Beattie had been talking about, but administrative, which makes it all legal under the British North America Act. But they were absolutely convinced that this was for real. They saw all the signs I did, but they didn't have the direct connection as I did as Hazel. But there were a couple of the power structure dropped by one or two residences, and they were treated like idiots. It's one thing to be the working class, but some of the street types treated the upper class representatives of the administrative coup attempt as worthy of insult. So they lost their chance to be in on the deal. Well, then they decided, well, what if it actually happens and Beattie gets to be a spokesperson? Now, I'm quoting the Rightist. We all know what we've done to Beattie over the years because we didn't like the Union Jack and we don't like the British. The fact that 99% of us, this is they speaking, the right-wing white types, 99% were not born on Canadian soil. They hated the British, even though they came here knowing we have a constitutional monarch and a governor-general. The bottom line is they actually had a plot at a club. It was held on Sherbourne Street in downtown Toronto. So much happened on Sherbourne Street. Beattie living at 565 Sherbourne Street. The British Identity headquarters at 313 Sherbourne Street. And the meeting place for the plot to have me done in halfway between. So the cunning death plot to have me murdered. By whom? Well-known Toronto right-wing white characters were to push me out of the back of a van speeding along Ontario's Highway 401. Of course, included in their plan was to have me plied with liquor. Oh my! Drunken Beattie found dead in ditch of Highway 401. The Rightists were berserk with jealousy at being completely excluded from our patriotic camp. Yes, after they had the chance to be involved, which they blew. John Ross Taylor was fed enough information about the ongoing war, and especially with choice public news clips. He photostated same and passed them on to his Rightist contacts with great glee that he was in on something big. He even put pieces on his telephone broadcast machine, messages, back then called the codophone. The Rightists were terrified that their lives might not be too comfortable after we succeeded in broadcasting our new administration via national outlets. Announcement broadcaster, again, check out administrator in Canada's Constitution. The right-wing misfits were too stupid to see that their discovered murder plot was all set up by their own enemy. Enemies of the British People's League and yours truly, of course, as well. Mysterious guardians of yours truly appeared out of nowhere downstairs in the bunker apartment complex, 565 Sherbourne Street, near Bloor and Yonge intersection for those miles away across the pond, downtown Toronto. So the mysterious guardians appeared in the downstairs of the Loblaws food store, part of the complex then, when my wife Hazel, the go-between, was just coming off her nursing day shift. She had to pick up a few items from Loblaws. One of our guardians, a well-known Toronto journalist recently passed away, signaled to Hazel to come over to him at the end of a shopping aisle. He then whispered to her if she or I knew the two men who were at the bread section. They were in the process of picking up German rye bread for yours truly. Hey, they even knew my favorite bread. They sure knew my habits. The conspiracy plan was the two advanced plotters would entice me. Hazel told the patriotic journalist that she had never seen either of the two, and she said likewise that I did not know the two. Their plan was to get past the doorman and head upstairs to our 7th floor corner apartment. Again to stress, the entire complex laid out like one massive bunker. And by the way, they even had a bottle of brandy with them. It's about the only liquor, hard liquor, that I enjoy. They sure knew my habits. So with Hazel off shift to look after our two young children, I would be free to go with them to hear a Rightist speaker at his favorite airport meeting spot at Toronto International Airport. One of the two inviters conveniently just happened to be the bartender scheduled for the meeting. Why, shucks and golly gee, they even had a bottle of brandy, the only liquor I enjoy. One was a Rhodesian South African that I had met at a British church function at 313 Sherburne Street. Oh, excuse me, no, this was held at the King Edward Hotel. This spiffy British identity group had the money to book the King Edward Hotel. They met there. They even had a senator attend from the Canadian Senate. So those who know British identity know of what I speak. So one was a Rhodesian South African that I met at a British church function. Hazel did not know of him. Met him one time. Extremely arrogant for sure. He and the well-known rightist David Strong took the collection and kept it. The other chap, posing as an Australian patriot, turns out worked for a well-known intelligence agency in the Middle East. Him I did not know. Of course, JB was expected to welcome the lads with open arms. How could I turn down an invitation from such fine chaps, especially when they have my favorite bread and booze? I mean, a Rhodesian South African and Australian. Mother would be so pleased. What the amateur rightist plotters at the German Harmony Club, and I'm not knocking my German friends here, I'm just saying where the meeting was held. What the amateur rightist plotters at the German Harmony Club, down a few blocks from our residence, did not know. After Beattie found dead, drunk in ditch, or squished in middle of Toronto's busiest highway, what they did not know is that all of them would have been locked up for conspiracy and murder. All of them! All except, that is, the cozy Australian agent. He would have identified all the conspirators, with his role being conveniently hushed. By pure flukiest of flukes, I was strolling outside the back area of our complex the very afternoon the plot took place at the Harmony Club. And who should I see coming along the back street? But two key rightists, D.A. and A.L., D.A. and A.L., looking quite nervous and very serious. Very serious and quite nervous. They did not mean spotting them in their cab, being driven by a black cabbie. At this point, I knew nothing about the plot. I thought, what in hell are those two doing in a cab in broad daylight when they both own cars? Well, of course, they did not want their license plates spotted outside the meeting hall while the plot thickened inside. It is believed that E.Z. shared the meeting of the plot. What a scoop! Get all the key rightist figures in Toronto locked up for decades and J.B. dead. Then the boys, our guardians, would be without their trusted spokesman for the fought-for new administration. It might well have worked, except for my guardians, the boys. Upon a nod from the journalist, in broad daylight, and in front of startled shoppers, quickly and silently, some sturdy lads in our camp moved down the aisle, neck-grabbed the two conspirators. With hands tightly over mouths, the two would-be murderers were dragged as such to a waiting van out front, never to be seen again. How sad. The duo disappeared forevermore thereafter. Later on that very afternoon, that very Saturday afternoon, and well into the evening, the entire screwball armada of rightists were swarming the lower level walk, wraparound area of the bunker complex where I lived, where we lived, the family lived, at 565 Sherburne Street. They were desperately peering up. Now I, having had the report from Hazel, was of course alert to what the hell's going on. I was looking down the balcony to the lower wraparound. These complexes have wraparound cement, walk-away wraparounds. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. One guy I hadn't seen around for years, a known rightist in Toronto, desperately peering up at the balcony. G-U. Maybe by the time the book is ready for print, we'll print their whole names. So number one was G-U. And I went for a stroll later on that afternoon, just a block away, see what it would draw out. And I drew another guy I hadn't seen for years with the initials of K-A. Just two of many that I spotted. G-U from Lithuania, K-A from Belarus. Isn't it amazing? The British give all these people the hospitality here, and they constantly abuse it. Anyway, those are just two of the many that I spotted, looking up for their two missing buddies. Once again, I had all the evidence with these eyeballs. I had all the evidence I needed that Hazel wasn't exaggerating, and she never lied to me about what was going on during Canada's secret civil war. Because I saw the evidence shortly after. She would get briefed by the boys. She would then come and brief me, and then I would go out and seek my own evidence. You just can't trust anyone in this world. Well, we had a couple of traitors in the leadership, etc. So I had the right to be careful. And not because this boy has fear, okay? We're all going to die someday. I enjoy life. I enjoy being here. I enjoy the role that I have played. And it wasn't played in the word played, but the role I have been chosen for, whatever. I'm proud of everything I've done in my life, and I wouldn't retract a second of it. But by the same token, we don't want to have accidents with the knowledge we have. It's happened to many other people on the planet who have had political knowledge, and they usually end up in very peculiar car accidents. So, you know, I had a lot of wisdom on the whole situation, and our British-Canadian history, my own British roots, the whole works. So I wasn't about to be allowed to just be snuffed out. But here, let's throw in a curveball right now so you'll know that I really am off my rocker. 6. Oh, I can never do hand signals on this YouTube camera. 6. Okay? 6 doubles picked out to draw the heat away from yours truly, me, died during the Secret War. Not 1, not 2, but 6. 2 or 3 of them were brought in from the armed forces in Scotland, well, the British Armed Forces. One was named John Beattie. Another was a William Beattie. And there's a flock of Beatties in mid-Aberdeenshire, Scotland. The little village of Inch is where we all started out, I-N-S-C-H. One was a Newfie, dead ringer for a double of yours truly. He passed away guarding radio equipment in the basement of Queen's Park. Yes, the legislative buildings. Another was mowed down on the road to Ottawa as a decoy when it was supposed to be me, and the enemy thought it was me, and they cut off at the pass on the road to Ottawa in the dead of night. CFRB Eric Thorson announced it at 2 a.m. There was a strange, mysterious accident on the road to Ottawa. And the way he worded it was a tip-off to yours truly that there isn't going to be a broadcast tonight. And the big shot with the big department store, one of the founding of Canada, he was found dead at his desk. The bodyguards went out for pizza. When they come back, he was dead. I wonder who paid off the bodyguards. Apparently it was a Cuban that came in, slit our man's throat from ear to ear. That's why the double was sent to Ottawa when our police contact couldn't reach the big shot. So he thought there was something fishy. So another double. We'll go to the doubles another time. We'll go into Sherbourne Street another time. We still haven't finished off the conspiracy of the Rightists. So that'll have to come up tomorrow. We'll get through her, and I hope it's of some interest to you. That I've been through the bloody mill, so I'm not here playing games. And let's have some support. Some donations would be appreciated. We'll talk at you tomorrow, which will be, of course, April the 1st. Goodbye for now.